All right, guys, it's that time. Gonna step in the ring with the greatest faction in podcast history. Just Freakin Wrestling, a JFW podcast, hosted by Travis-T.
I'm Dizzle J.
Guys, I know we've been gone for a few weeks. Hopefully you had an opportunity to catch up and listen to the SCW Roundtable that we released as a 3-part series a couple weeks ago. Those are going to be monthly, so make sure you check out the upcoming event for August as we do another SCW Roundtable. Obviously, those events will be posted up on our Facebook page, which you can find if you follow us at Just Freakin Wrestling or the JFW Podcast. As mentioned a few weeks ago, we're kind of revamping the show, kind of doing something a little bit different. So, again, if you are following us on Facebook, which is the best place to follow us.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say about 90% of our content is Facebook.
That's all I know how to use.
Yeah. It's going to change a little bit as we dive into independent wrestling a little bit more. Hopefully they start opening up again, where our Instagram is going to be more used. And obviously Twitter's kind of there just to notify everyone of our show releases and stuff like that. But if you are following us on Facebook, you realize that we are now posting the results of WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown, NXT, AEW, and Impact Wrestling, all there on our Facebook page, as well as our personal grades, if you will, for the shows and matches and stuff like that. On top of that, additional highlights that are kind of key moments to acknowledge and know that happened in the show. But because we're not doing results here on our podcast anymore, we're trying to focus more on the news, the reports and stuff of wrestling, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. So I know when we originally started this out, if you look on iTunes, you look on Google Play, or even our Twitter and everything, it says the place where kayfabe is still alive.
Right.
Which we still do believe that. We do believe that kayfabe is an important thing in wrestling. I think it should still be a huge part of wrestling. But there's so many real-life events happening out there that why not kind of bring it to the attention of the wrestling fan?
This is very true. I mean, it just helps either build the wrestlers up or show them that these are people we don't need to look up to.
Yeah, and also it gives an explanation on why people aren't on TV, or why they're coming to different companies and stuff like that. So we're going to kind of pilot this and test drive it on this episode, and then just bear with us, give us some time to kind of get the structure down and figure it out and everything, because even though we've been doing this since 2017, which I do believe this past July or June is when we released our first episode in 2017. Yeah. So we've hit 3 years here at JFW. Happy anniversary to you.
Happy anniversary.
Right. It's a good moment. It's a good moment. It's unfortunate Dally can't be here with us today, but I'm sure she'll be back with us next week to kind of work on this with us. So again, bear with us. Keep coming back and everything, because I promise you, even if you don't think the structure of this is working now, not to say we can't get it to work out eventually. So.
But you got to, even now, if you go back and listen to the first show until now and realize how far we've come from that, and every time we've tweaked something all along the way, either we stick with it or we get rid of it.
Yeah.
If we don't feel it's working. Yeah.
And the best part of it, guys, because, you guys make the podcast what it is. You make us come back and do this week after week. It's up to you guys too. If you have a suggestion or a complaint on how we're doing things and what we're doing, maybe things that you think we should be doing that we're not, you could respond to us. Get a hold of us on either Facebook or Twitter. Use the hashtag Freakin Saying. It was a This Freakin Show original thing. Now it's for both because we are part of the Freakinet Studios.
Freakinet
Studios. Use the hashtag Freakin Saying just to get a hold of us. If you say, if you have a comment, a suggestion, if you want something for us to talk about. Because like I was explaining to Dizzle J and a little bit to Dally as well, we're going to talk about the news, as I mentioned here, but I want to kind of do some rebooking and revamping of storylines and stuff in history. So in the next coming weeks, just to give you guys an idea of what we're doing, we're going to look at the WCW invasion back from 2001, do a little rebooking and maybe how we would alternate to make it maybe better for everyone, or just at least on our perspective. And that'll give you guys an opportunity, too, to kind of give us your feedback on if you think WWE did it better or we did it better.
A little freaking tweaking.
Freaking tweaking. I like that. Right? And it doesn't have to do with the crackhead.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that, but before we do, I just want to remind all you guys that this episode of Just Freak Wrestling, the JFW podcast, is brought to you by BallWash.com. Make sure you go to BallWash.com, check out all their amazing products they have available, such as shampoos and conditioners, body washes, nut rubs, powders. They just released a line of boxers as well as body scrubs and stuff like that. So they have a lot of different products there, always coming out with something new and something different. Check it out, buy some product, and then when you get to that checkout, use the promo code FREAKNET. That's FREAKNET, all one word. It'll save you 15% on your entire order. That's right, guys, ballwash.com. Get that funk
out your junk.
Out your junk.
That's my favorite sponsor.
Yeah. Jay, I got to say, you're probably going to benefit the most out of what we're going to do here because it's going to limit my ability to interrupt you.
Oh.
Right? Something new.
You're still going to find a way.
Oh, I'm going to do it, too. It's going to be awesome. Also, we're bringing back Freakin 5. I want, I know this sounds weird. I'm telling you what we're going to do before we actually do it, but just bear with me because I like talking.
Yeah.
You guys remember we used to bring Freakin 5 over on the Facebook page where we said, give us your top 5 this. Well, we're bringing Freakin 5 back, but not in the same way that was there. Instead, we're going to do ranking systems and stuff at the end of the show, and you're going to see how it works when we get to it. It's kind of cool. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be enjoyable. But after we do the ranking, I will post it up onto the Facebook page, and that way you guys give your rankings. So a lot of interaction with our fans now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely. So I'm excited for that. So, Jay, I want to talk about the first article that did come up. I didn't want to discuss. And obviously we know Gallows and Anderson are now Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
We do know they made it over. They were recently on a different podcast, not ours. Don't know why. But they talked about how they're talking to AJ Styles and they're trying to convince him to go back to Impact Wrestling. I guess AJ did kind of a response to this, saying that you never say never in wrestling, which Vince McMahon has proved that to be true. Yeah, never say never. But he did mention before that the contract he signed with WWE is his last contract he wants to sign. He wants to retire after this, and he wants to end his career in WWE. Do you believe AJ Styles should go back to Impact Wrestling after his WWE contract? Why? Why not? If you do, what do you think they could do with him and stuff like that? You're more of the Impact guy. I haven't watched a lot of Impact. That the fact of not trying. Obviously, I don't got it here, but you know Impact a little bit more than I do.
Yeah.
You know the people who are there. What is Impact like now compared to the AJ Styles era? And what do you think could be the benefits or even the negatives of AJ going back?
Well, the AJ Styles era, when he was in Impact, it was like he was more of a high flyer there.
And that was still when it was pretty much TNA.
Like that's TNA.
Yeah, they did change it to Impact Wrestling, I think, at a certain point when Mick Foley was there. But it was still more of a TNA thing. It was before GPW showed up, or Global.
Well, the show was called TNA Impact.
Okay, yep.
It was, first it was TNA, and then it became TNA Impact, and then it became Global Pro, whatever. It's just, they've gone through so many changes, and Impact would benefit from having AJ there now, but I think in the long run for AJ, if he went to Impact after his WWE, they wouldn't give him a bid into the Hall of Fame. I think Vince McMahon is that kind of guy, and honestly, I would like to see AJ go to the Hall of Fame more than I would like to see him go to...
Yeah, and obviously a lot of the guys who are in Impact Wrestling right now, they weren't really there when AJ was in TNA.
No.
I honestly, I can't even think off the top of my head who was there then, who's there now, except for obviously Eric Young, who came back.
Right.
But, I mean, Moose wasn't there. Callahan wasn't there.
I mean, it'd be kind of neat to see him and Callahan go at it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Callahan, even though he is kind of a dirtbag, at least on screen.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of him. He plays his character well, and he owns it. Almost like a Brian Pillman-esque kind of way. He lives the character.
Yeah, and you gotta give AJ the title if he goes back. You gotta give him.
Yeah, there's no
title.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
And I just, it won't do anything for AJ.
Yeah.
That's where I stand. He already turned down an Impact Hall of Fame bid.
Which I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I mean, I guess it's not fair to say that. I mean, obviously, WWE's Hall of Fame really wasn't something, until they built it to what it is.
Right.
So maybe down the line, yeah, Impact can. But I think the Impact Hall of Fame we got a little weird when Kurt Angle was inducted into it, and then he pulled his induction, saying he wasn't worthy of it when he went through his drug addiction and all that stuff, to eventually being reinstated into Impact Wrestling. But I mean, with AJ in WWE right now, current Intercontinental Champion, I'm hoping he does get a tag team title just so he could be a Grand Slam champion in WWE.
I thought he already was a Grand Slam champion.
No, Triple Crown. He was the United States champion. He was the Intercontinental champion. He was WWE champion.
Oh, he hasn't been Universal champion yet either.
No.
That's right. That one don't mean as much.
No, it doesn't. I mean, that's the Brock title.
Brock title.
That's the Brock title. Well, I guess, Drew's making it something. So, that's kind of relevant.
Well, Drew, I think, has just put that company on his back.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like to me.
I don't think there's much talent there for him. Like, right now. Because obviously, this whole COVID thing.
I am interested to see him go against Orton, though. That should be a pretty good match.
That would. And I know Kevin Owens getting over his ankle injury. I know Kevin Owens is going to face Randy Orton this coming Monday on Raw.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't punt him to take him off camera. But I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin Owens take on Drew McIntyre. I think that'd be good. So I guess it's not right to say that they don't have talent for him. I don't think there's any available at this moment outside of another storyline for him to face. I mean, he could face Rollins, but they got to work that way back to that point, which I think they're kind of taking a little break from Rollins as champion to work on this whole Monday Night Messiah with Rey Mysterio.
Which hasn't really been working out either because he keeps losing disciples.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's another thing too, because I do want to talk about that new faction to Retaliation, which we'll get to here in a little bit as well. But Drew had a couple good matches with Dolph Ziggler, both Extreme Rules matches and stuff like that. But outside of Randy Orton, like if Drew is to retain over Randy Orton, which I'm thinking he will, who's next in line?
I don't know. I mean, I could see Bobby Lashley going after him again.
Lashley would be a good match because SummerSlam's the biggest match, one of the big four.
Yeah, the big four.
And we got SummerSlam coming up here on I believe August 23rd. I believe at least a week.
I think next week is our predictions. Yeah.
Yeah. So the following one is going to be Survivor Series. So if they were going to build to a pay-per-view match for that point, they really got work. Well, no, my bad. Champions versus champions at Survivor Series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah. So currently, right now, it'd be Braun versus Drew at Survivor Series.
That might be pretty cool.
Yeah. Drew will go over, I guess. Well, I know. Watching from SmackDown this past week, I know they're doing a lot of things with Braun Strowman, almost going heelish. Because if you recall from last week with the Fiend attacking Alexa Bliss, and he almost attacking her again last night on SmackDown. Even Braun showed up on a time trial, not in person, but on time trial, saying like I don't care about Alexa. I don't care what you do to Alexa. I just care about retaining my championship. So it almost seems like they're kind of making him heelish. But there also looks like there's a lot of rumor speculation of there being a Fiend Alexa Bliss relationship on camera.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah. I was hoping that he would convert her to
Sister Abigail.
Yeah. Kind of give her because she's had that. I don't want to say one-dimension character because I do love her character in heel and face form, but give her something else to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was after that Extreme Rules match happened, there was this post on I think it was the Real Wrestling Fans Facebook page talking about Alexa Bliss being the perfect Sister Abigail component, which I went on. I responded because why not troll people?
Right.
I told him AJ Lee would have been the best fucking Sister Abigail.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, think about it. You don't know what the A stands for in AJ Lee because they never mentioned it on TV. She had that mental breakdown thing, so why not make her Sister Abigail? And then obviously you get these people oh, that would never work, blah, blah, which I guess that they believe it never worked and they don't really know how wrestling works because that's only perfect fucking booking. But then you get these other fucking guys who are well, AJ Lee wasn't really around when Bray Wyatt was. And she was. He debuted 9 months or almost a year before AJ even left. So,
for me, Rosemary would have been the obvious choice to go.
Rosemary would have been good.
If you were going outside the company,
Yeah.
Rosemary, or I don't even think Sue Young was around then, or at least not as big a name as she is now. But I thought Rosemary probably would have been the perfect.
I would like Rosemary. If you look within the company, Liv Morgan's return would have been good.
Paige, if she was healthy.
Paige would still have been a good one. Honestly, like what Scarlett's doing down in NXT would have been good. Because I'm loving the Karrion Kross, Keith Lee kind of storyline going where... Oh, it's good, man. It's good. Let's talk about one of your articles, man. What you got? So overall, we both feel... I want to say that AJ going to Impact wouldn't be good. I think him retiring after this WWE contract would be okay.
Yeah, to me, it does nothing for AJ.
Yeah.
While it would be awesome for Impact Wrestling, it does nothing for him, and he might lose his bid for WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that's really what a lot of these guys are working towards anyway. Mm-hmm. Whether they say they aren't or they're not, they are.
Does AJ Styles headline his Hall of Fame induction?
It depends on the class.
Do you think that they'll... You think that induction? Because obviously, I think we can all agree Undertaker's going in next year.
Yeah, I would hope so.
But I don't think AJ will go in next year. That might be too soon. But
I don't think he'll headline only because a majority of his career is outside of the WWE.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just like an asshole. Everybody's got one.
All right, what you got there?
Wikipedia. Tessa Blanchard's page just said that she has signed with WWE.
You know, when I saw that article, I went back to check it, and it had to have been removed by then. But I know Wikipedia has the ability to be edited by people.
Right. You can edit Wikipedia.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot of speculation about her coming to WWE. I know there have been a lot of rumors with her as far as the Evolution pay-per-view that's supposed to be coming back.
See, to me, and I was reading somewhere and I was talking to somebody on Facebook about this too, that the surprises are gone. Like, we knew the Good Brothers were going to show up in Impact before they showed up in Impact. We knew, man, I can't even remember. The last big surprise for me debut was probably AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. Because I didn't even, and I mean, I followed Impact Wrestling, I followed what he was doing, and they never mentioned him canceling any shows or anything like that. And all of a sudden, I'm watching the Royal Rumble and this music hits. I'm like, who the hell is this? And then it's AJ Styles. I marked out.
Yeah, because I know there was a lot of speculation on it, but usually around pay-per-views, I try to stay offline because I don't want to hear about things and stuff like that. Because people do have a tendency to spoil shit like that. There's been magazines and articles and stuff for years, so it's avoiding that shit. So not to ruin the surprises. But yeah, I think AJ was probably the last one. I'm trying to remember the Hardy Boys in WrestleMania, if that was before or after AJ, but I want to say that was after, and if it was, that was mine.
I think that was after too, but that was pretty good too. But
I didn't know they were coming. I
didn't know they were coming either.
I heard they were with Ring of Honor and nothing beyond that.
Right.
So,
but with Tessa, I think where she needs to go is WWE.
Yeah. NXT or main
roster. I mean, straight to main roster. AEW's women division is up and coming, but not at that level of Tessa. She should be able to blow through that.
In WWE, let's fantasy book a little bit. So you get Tessa Blanchard showing up in WWE, Raw or SmackDown, whatever. Did they acknowledge her as a former world champion because of Impact?
No, they won't.
Yeah, no.
They've never acknowledged anybody as that from any other companies, so why would they do it for her?
Yeah. Who's her first pay-per-view match against?
First pay-per-view match, probably Ruby Riott.
I'm going to say Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans would be good.
Yeah. She's a pay-per-view type person. I obviously, I don't think... If she was a debut at a pay-per-view, I would say Lacey Evans. On TV, probably Dana Brooks. But I don't think she'd do good against, because I haven't seen Lacey Evans wrestle, or not Lacey Evans, Tessa. I haven't seen her wrestle a lot. I don't think she's a very aerial kind of person.
No.
So I think facing Naomi wouldn't be that good because you wouldn't get like those high spot moves and stuff.
But she works well with those people, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Brock. You know, Brock and Eddie put on some of the best matches. Brock and Rey Mysterio, Finn Balor and Brock a couple years back. Tessa's very good at what she does. Mm-hmm. But see, to me, it culminates to that WrestleMania, her first WrestleMania match. It's got to be Charlotte. It has to be.
Yeah.
I think so. Because to me, that's Charlotte's and Tessa are probably two of the, and not to put anything past Natalia, but probably the two most famous daughters of wrestlers.
Oh, well, Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a, I'm trying to remember, there was a Hall of Fame ceremony that I watched about a couple months ago. And it was probably the Four Horsemen induction. But I remember Charlotte and Tessa were both there, so it had to have been the Four Horsemen induction.
Yeah, she was in the crowd.
Yeah, they were both in the crowd, and that was pretty cool to see. I think it'd be awesome. It probably won't be able to happen with Blanchard in AEW, right? Yeah, he's with Spears.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that he would bring Tully in if they do bring Tessa in to have a Charlotte versus Tessa match with the dads on the outside.
I think, to me, that'd be a little overplayed.
Yeah.
Well, go back to when Cowboy Bob Orton always came out with Randy. It just seemed like unnecessary.
Yeah, but I think it played well with The Undertaker. Here's one for you. Here's one. One side of the ring, you have Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, Sasha. The Four Horsewomen. What's Tessa's Four Horsewomen?
Ooh. I might put Baszler on that team.
Right? And it's hard because obviously you can't put Charlotte because Charlotte's on one end.
Right.
And it's because of Flair. But if you have a storyline with Flair and Tessa on who owns the Horseman name.
See, that would be cool.
So you get them four. Who's on? Because I know there was the Four Horsemen of the UFC with Baszler and Rousey and the other two others people. I don't want to say nobody's because I'm not going to downplay their UFC careers. I do believe they are in the NXT performance.
Yeah, they're in NXT.
But who is Tessa's Four Horsewomen? If they're to have a Survivor Series or a WrestleMania eight woman tag or even Evolution or whatever it's called, who's Tessa's Four Horsewomen? And stick to WWE, but I want to do WWE. I definitely want to because it's more logical. But then think outside the box and we could double up.
So I would say Baszler.
Okay.
Because that'd give you your powerhouse. Well, Tessa's kind of a powerhouse too, though. Asuka, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I go Naomi.
Naomi? So Naomi, Baszler, and Asuka.
And Tessa.
I would probably look at I'd probably heel them, make them heels in it. Because I think the four WWE horsewomen would probably, even though
they're all heels right now.
Well, except for Becky. Yeah, but I think if Tessa comes in with other people, like, you know, how does WWE make them the baby face? How do they make Tessa the newcomer out of all of them?
Well, the way you would do it is you would get the four. You'd get Charlotte and them together beforehand, and then just have them run roughshod over everybody.
Okay. And
then all of a sudden, you know, she'd cut a promo for the Four Horsewomen. My dad started da 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 da. Then you would hit whatever Tessa uses as her entrance music for WWE, whatever it'll be, and she comes out. Mm-hmm. And then from there it starts with war, and then slowly people just start joining her.
They could do what they did to Sting. Invite Tessa into the Horsewoman just to beat her up and tell her that she's not part of it. She's not really part of it. Right? And that'll give her that baby face over where she was like, well, my dad was a horseman too. So when you did WWE, did you also look at NXT? Or did you just focus on WWE roster?
In my head, I looked at the roster.
Okay. Because I definitely put Tessa there. If you're going babyface, I wouldn't mind putting Dana in there just to give her a little bit of a push. I know she has the ability and talent to do it. She just doesn't have the right storyline to go with.
Right.
So I think putting like Dana Brooks in there, I think that would help out. Lacey Evans, I wouldn't mind, just because she's kind of like, like a powerhouse too. And also, like, it gives them the ability to do a little bit more in the business.
I think Lacey Evans makes sense because it's like to me, she screams America. I don't even know why. Probably because of the military background and stuff like that and the way she conducts herself in the ring. But at Four Horsemen, to me, has always been like an American thing. Like, not to take away from any other club anywhere else, but it would be neat. And I think she fits the mold.
Your idea of American mold Four Horse includes Asuka?
Yeah, why not? America. It doesn't matter where
the
you're
melting
from.
pot.
I don't think you can use that term anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a good term.
It's a good term.
I think you use melting pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
she's a U.S. citizen.
So I do Tessa, Dana Brooks, Lacey Evans, and I probably pulled someone from Raw. I don't know. I think I guess in my opinion, I think SmackDown has more talents as an option. If I was to pull from NXT, I go Rhea Ripley.
Ooh,
I think that'd be good.
That'd be neat.
Right.
Rhea to me is a loner too, though. At the same time,
but her issues with Charlotte,
yeah.
I think would help out. A friend, the friend of the enemy of my enemy is my friend or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be pretty cool. But even like if you go heel wise and you want to look at what the Horsemen actually was, you got you got Arn and Ole Anderson, you got tag team. You can look at the Iconics to put with Tessa. And then,
I like the Iconics, but I don't see them fitting it with that.
I think as a tag team to put into a heel horsewoman faction, I think it would.
Yeah, heel. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'm saying heel now.
Yeah.
Like not as a big. You can't put the Iconics can't be baby faces. If you look at a babyface tag team, I think the Riot Squad with Liv and Ruby because they've got back together this past Monday as we saw. And then,
is it officially back together though? I did get to see part of
this. They're considered the Riot Squad. Yeah, absolutely. All right, what about outside the ring? Like outside WWE, you bring Tessa with 3 new people. Who are they?
Taya Valkyrie.
Okay.
Ivelisse.
Yep.
And I hate her so much, but Britt Baker.
Adam Cole's wife?
Adam Cole's wife. Girlfriend. Fiance.
My bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta remember that promo with her big swole. That was one of I cannot stand her, but in ring ability, she's fun to watch, and her little submission maneuver is just brutal looking.
If I go outside of wrestling, I agree with Ivelisse. I always liked Ivelisse, even with Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
I liked Ivelisse.
Well, that's where I first.
Yeah, Big Swole I put in there.
See,
I think a powerhouse for Big Swole would be real good, and I don't know if I do. Valkyrie is a good option. I think she'd be a good choice. But I'd probably bring back. I can't remember what she goes by now, but Emma.
Oh,
I can't remember her name right now, but I bring back Emma.
Yeah, is she still wrestling?
I think she still wrestles the Independents or something like that. I think so.
I have to look that up later.
Yeah, I think Emma would be a good one to bring in. I think that'd be it get her back. It's almost like Drew McIntyre. Make it rebuild your name on outside WWE to come back, and I think come back as a 4-horsewoman stable to take on the original 4-horsewoman.
But drop the Emma or the Emelina name and come back with the name she's using.
Yeah,
which I thought I wish I could remember what it is.
It's one of those names that like you can't think of while you're trying to think of it.
Yeah,
it'll come to you though. All right, let's dive into the next one here. Before we do, guys, hey, just a reminder: not only is Ball Wash a sponsor of the show, but also Audible.com. If you go to audibletrial.com/freaknet today, you get yourself a 30-day free trial plus a credit to your first book purchase. If you're just like me, you're just not a big fan of reading, but you do enjoy a good story and stuff, Audible is the best place for you to go because it's the one-stop shop for all audio books. Take it on the road while driving, or as you're sitting there trying to enjoy the nice day, sitting on your deck. Obviously, we have some really good weather. Cracking a cold one, and just listen to an audiobook. I mean, pro wrestling fans, there's a bunch of wrestling books on there available. Dizzle J over here, I almost called you Cartoon Joe.
Cartoon Joe, huh?
Books. It's the books, man.
It's the books.
Dizzle J over here picked up the Chris Jericho autobiography,
and he reads it to me.
And he reads it right to him.
Yeah.
I myself got the book about the Chris Benoit incident, as well as the history about WCW. So I do have a couple of myself, and it's awesome to get an opportunity to hear people read it to you while you're trying to relax or doing some odd jobs around the house.
And it's great because, like, a lot of times you can get these authors for their different books to do it for you too.
Yeah.
And I posted this advertisement on Facebook, and I just wanted to mention this. I thought it was really neat. I never thought about it this way, but people who have dyslexia and it's hard for them to read also, but they love stories. Now you can listen to it without having to struggle with reading. I mean, hell, that's cool to me.
Yeah.
I'd never even thought about it that way until someone mentioned it to me on Facebook.
Yeah,
That's
a great opportunity. audibletrial.com/freaknet. Sign up, 30-day free trial, credit to your first book purchase. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. All right. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen some riotish kind of incidents.
So is this the stuff that was playing? Like, I saw a little bit of Raw.
Okay.
Is this the stuff that why the mics weren't working, or
Yeah.
was that really because of the hurricane?
I think they wanted to play it off that way, but I think what it was which they're calling the faction Retribution. There's 5 people involved in this, men and women. It's been shown if you watch this bad SmackDown. But on Raw, both on Raw and SmackDown, microphones were cutting out, lights were flickering and everything, and I think they played it off well because of the hurricane. But I think a lot of it was due to this group known as Retaliation. We saw on Raw them taking Molotov cocktails and burning up these sound system and stuff. And then we saw on SmackDown where they tore apart the arena, kind of like we saw the Nexus do when they made their debut. God, what the hell was it? So I want to say there's 3 guys, there's 2 women in it. I know the article was saying a lot of it, like, there's a lot of actually positives and negatives to it, because people do like this whole, like, riot kind of, like, storylines. The biggest reasons I don't like it is because of an article that was posted. People are relating it to the Antifa, Black Lives Matter protest stuff that are going on in the world, which I get where they can kind of see the comparisons and similarities. But this is pro wrestling, and I'm praying to God that there's nobody in the fucking WWE company that says, hey, you know what we should do? We should jump on the fucking Antifa bandwagon and make a storyline of it. I don't think that's the case.
No.
I think they're just trying to find a way to make something like this, especially with Survivor Series coming up, a little more impactful, a little more...
So we don't know who they are yet either, do we?
They haven't, no. I know... I tried to figure it out last night when I was watching SmackDown, because the 2 women that are involved in it, when they're beating up the women in the crowd, they took their hoods down but left their mask on, and you kind of see their hair. I'm like, who the hell's hair is that? Because I wanted to say it was Ember Moon, but I don't think Ember Moon's fully healed, but they did have like Ember Moon like hair. But at the same time, I mean, I think JoJo had the same kind of hair too. So trying to find the best way to say it. I think one of them's black. I don't want to assume though. Don't demonetize me because I'm assuming. But I know 3 of them are guys, 2 of them are definitely girls. One sounds like Seth Rollins, but I don't think it's Seth Rollins. But one sounds like Seth Rollins. But also it kind of sounds like an Eric Young thing. And that's what I was trying to think. Like, maybe these Retaliation faction are people that were released in WWE and were re-signed and stuff, and I'm like, hey, let's do this. And I think after doing it that way, I think it's great the storyline is.
That'd be cool.
Downside is it does remind me a lot of Nexus, and it reminds me a lot of Aces and Eights. And it reminds me a lot of Aces and Eights because of the mask and the covering and not knowing who they are. But I don't like the fact that people are associating it with Antifa. Outside of wrestling, we know what's going on in the world, and I don't want that line to blur with wrestling. Because when that happens, then you just get fucking annoyed and you move on. So, the group's called Retribution. There have been some people that have been predicted to be in it. I'm going to give you the name of the people. I just kind of want your feedback on it. And then we'll kind of follow up and we'll just figure out who we think is really in it. Okay? So one of the names mentioned was Dominic Dijakovic. I don't think it is because I think Dijakovic's a little bit bigger than the people that are shown in there. But
that doesn't make... To me, it doesn't make sense.
No. Tegan Knox. To me, that doesn't make sense.
See, to me, I'm looking for people who haven't gotten... I'm thinking more like a Ricochet kind of deal.
See, I think one of them, to me, because I was trying to listen to the voices, one of them kind of sounded like Ricochet. But I wasn't too sure.
Mustafa? Or Ali, sorry.
Yeah. Well, are they bringing back the Mustafa part of Ali? Because I think they called him Mustafa Ali when he made his return. They also rumored to be the Riot Squad.
That makes sense.
I don't think it is because
it makes sense, but I don't think it is.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Well, that'd be cool.
I can see that one.
I could see that.
Right? Because we haven't seen him since his loss to Cross. Yeah, right. Another speculation was Samoa Joe, which I don't believe so. But I mean, Joe's a big guy. None of them look like big guys. Because I'm always trying to look at body size and stuff. You think Gargano and Candice LeRae?
No.
No.
I'm going to be wrong.
Mia Yim?
I could see that. That kind of fits with her character.
Aleister Black.
That would make sense, too. Because he really, to me, he's worthy of more of a push than what he's gotten. Mm-hmm. And he's put on great matches with everybody. Anybody and everybody he's faced.
Who do you think could be in it?
See, I was thinking maybe like a Mojo.
Well, let me do this because it's something actually I wanted to do a couple weeks ago, and maybe this will kind of help us. If they're following the storyline about the retaliation faction being people re-signed back to WWE. We saw a lot of people get released in 2020. Mm-hmm. Let's just go through the list. We'll go through the list. We're going to try to... This is going to be a lot of work for you.
Okay.
We're going to go through the list of everybody. If they're already somewhere, tell me if you think that was the right move for them. If they're not, we'll see if they're part of retaliation. Sound good? All right. Kurt Angle.
No.
You don't think he's part of retaliation? I think, well, he turned down WWE, right? Because WWE offered him such low money, he said no.
I just don't think he's wanting to wrestle anymore.
All right. Rusev. Ooh. Rusev could be one. I know there was lots. I know there was. He went on social media and talked about how he's no longer wrestling anymore. He's gonna focus on his
gaming,
just Twitch or whatever.
Twitch and gaming. Yeah, I posted that.
Yeah, I think that was just a spoof on what he was actually gonna do. I can see Rusev being part of this.
That would be cool. I was a big fan of Rusev.
Yeah, Drake Maverick. We do know he got signed back to WWE, but we haven't seen him on NXT in a while. Maybe he's part of that.
So even though I haven't seen any of these guys to make that body. Yeah. But I could see that being.
Carl Anderson, we know, is an Impact along with Luke Gallows. Good move for them. Not New Japan or AEW.
See, I would have went AEW, but
is AEW too saturated with tag teams?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the problem is they throw, and then they're tag team champions, and nothing to take away from Paige and Omega. They're just thrown together.
Mm-hmm. Eric Young.
That would make sense.
He's back in Impact, right?
But he's back in Impact. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. EC3, back in Impact, right?
So he's been working with Impact, but as far as I know, it's a day-to-day contract. It's not a full...
Based on his, because I'm assuming you saw his video package.
Yeah.
That would make sense for retaliation.
Yeah.
Kurt Hawkins, I believe, is an Impact. Leo Rush.
That'd be neat. I came around to Leo Rush. I did not like him at first.
I think we won the Cruiserweight title. So I didn't like him when he was Bobby Lashley's manager.
Yeah, no, that was annoying.
Heath Slater, we know, is an Impact. Aiden English.
Nah.
You don't think he's in it?
Nah.
Sarah Logan, I believe she's pregnant, right?
Yeah, she's pregnant.
Mike Kyoto's a referee. Primo and Upco Cologne. They could be in it, but I think they might be wrestling down with their
I think they're
their
back
father.
in Cuba.
Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
I thought it was Cuba.
No, Puerto Rico.
Oh, shit.
That's where fucking Bruiser Brody died.
Oh, that's right.
Costa Rica?
Puerto Rico?
It's one of the Ricas.
Rico.
Eric Rowan's definitely not one of them. No one's big enough to be Rowan, but where is he at?
I haven't seen him pop up anywhere, honestly.
Mike Maria Canales, definitely not. Zack Ryder is obviously in AEW, as we saw. No Way Jose.
He is supporting a new... Last I saw, he's supporting a new look, too, so...
Cassius Ohno? Nope.
I was never really a big fan.
Curtis Axel? I can see him.
I could see him and Bo.
Haven't seen Bo either. I think Bo's injured.
I can't stand Bo. Bo knows. Bo needs to know when to shut the fuck up.
Bo don't know diddly. Yeah, what you got?
The Rock. And this is kind of wrestling news, kind of not wrestling news, but it involves The Rock. So, it's news. Mm-hmm. Bought the XFL for $15 million.
It's so cheap.
See, that's what I thought, too. Everybody's like, wow, that's a lot of money. I'm like, it seems kind of cheap to me.
Not for what? I mean, because I think Vince, bought out, $60 million worth of stock in fucking WWE just to do it. I know he teamed with his ex-wife and some other company to do it. But I know when I posted on the Facebook page, I put it kind of makes sense. And it does, because if you know his acting history,
yep.
He knows on the HBO show Ballers, which is a football-based television show, where he bought the Broncos, I think, in the TV show. Good TV show if you ever get a chance to watch it. But he was also in Gridiron Gang, also a football movie.
He also played football.
Yeah. So I think him buying the XFL would be pretty cool. I think him owning it over the WWE owning it would pull more people into it.
I watched it. I watched a few games last year, and I think, or this past year, I think COVID killed it.
Oh, yeah.
It had no chance once this bullshit hit, and I think that's what really ultimately killed it. But I think The Rock ended up being as charismatic as he is, as knowledgeable as the man is. Very smart. He's proven that his ex-wife is one of his business managers, I believe, too.
Yeah.
So it's, if your ex-wife is your business manager, obviously you gotta be doing something, right? You gotta be legit. And I think hearing him talk about the XFL would be way more fun than Vincent.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping if with him bought it, I'm hoping he's kind of like a face of it.
Yeah.
I hope he's involved in and not so much, I guess, doing the commentating, but maybe hosting the intros to it, or just really being a part of it. Because I think the XFL could do some good. I don't think it'll ever be as big as the NFL. I don't think it'll ever replace the NFL.
I don't think it'll ever replace. I think it could get as big.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a while. And look, you don't have no Chicago team. Who am I supposed to root for if you ain't got a Chicago team?
Probably one of the 3 California teams.
Yeah, no.
I think they'll grow. I don't know if they're going to end up with 32 teams like the NFL, but I think they'll grow, because I think they got 16 teams right now. I'm not really sure. I know a lot of it's out west, a couple of them are east, but I do like the fact that it's within the NFL offseason, so you're not competing with the NFL.
Right, and that would be stupid.
Yeah. You are competing with baseball. which baseball plays every day mostly, so you're going to compete with some of those time frames, but I think they're going to stick to Saturday, I believe, games.
I believe they're Saturday games.
Yeah.
And they only play 2 or 3 in a day. I think it was only 2 last year. I'm not sure. But I think you got a lot of people who don't like baseball and love football. And those are the people that you're going to target. Whereas I'm more of a baseball guy than I am a football guy. And I'm really not too much a major sports guy besides wrestling is really the only thing I really keep a track with most of the time. I'll go to a Sox game. If I had to, I'll go to the Cubs game. But
yeah. But no, I think it's cool. He's doing down XFL. Hopefully next year kicks it off better. And I don't know. I think this is a good investment for him. Like I said, I mean, like, yeah, $15 million is a lot of fucking money.
But it seems
not
cheap.
First off, not for The Rock and not for buying the XFL.
That's a movie for The Rock.
Yeah.
And not even a good one.
Right. Like, it's probably one of those things where he's like, yeah, sure, why the hell not? Right? Kind of like when, like, you see, like, you know, you could buy, like, fucking 2 Pepsis for $5. Why the fuck not? You know? Same thing.
I think you're going to have more celebrities want to work with The Rock than you do with McMahon. Mm-hmm. Because The Rock is popular. It just seems like that to me. I really don't know the man, but you don't hear a whole lot about him. Obviously, Vin Diesel won't help him out at all. So, that I did hear about.
Guys, if you acknowledge what we have on our table here and everything, you obviously see some awesome merchandise that was sent to us from our friends at Phoenix Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
As we mentioned before, they do have a show coming up, I believe, September 26th. It's going to be at the Washington County Fair Parks and Conference Center in West Bend, Wisconsin. They're going to be taking on another company, Slammin' Championship Wrestling. SCW, not to be confused with Southland Championship Wrestling.
SCW of the North.
SCW North, right? So we got Phoenix Pro Wrestling taking on Slammin' Championship Wrestling. Here I do got a match card that's showing here. The card is subject to change,
of course.
But as of right now, let's see what we got here. We got Maverick defending the heavyweight title versus Colt Storm. Ryu Shinzaki, if I pronounced that right, is taking on Luscious Lonnie Kincaid for the United States Championship. Robbie McCann and Gavin Alexander will defend the new Phoenix Pro Tag Belts against DOD. Plus a fatal 4-way for the new television title with Excalibur, Scorpion, Tanner, Nix, and Crazy Scott.
Television title?
Yeah.
Does that mean they're on TV?
I do believe they are on TV up there. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's cool. If you guys aren't following Phoenix Pro Wrestling on Facebook, make sure you do, because they did get a lot of brand new titles in, and the titles look pretty awesome. So make sure you check them out. The main event's obviously going to be a PPW versus SCW Survivor Series type elimination match. Members of that to come. So make sure you guys check it out. Again, it's September 26th up in West Bend, Wisconsin. I think we're going to try to make it. Just got to see what it looks like at that point. It's a little bit of a drive. It's a little road tripping.
That's all right.
But we can always pick up cheese and booze on the way.
I like cheese and booze.
Right? It's Wisconsin. You only got 3 good things. Cheese, booze, and it's right next to Illinois.
Yeah.
I'll take it. It's like when I tell people, like, hey, where are you from? Like, I'm from Illinois, but not that shitty Chicago part.
Say the opposite. I'm from Chicago.
No, don't do that. Don't tell them that shit. All right, Jay. One more thing I want to talk about before we dive into our Freakin' 5.
Cool.
If you guys remember Tyson Kidd, husband to Natalia, trained at the dungeon, got injured.
Current trainer.
Yeah. Got injured by Samoa Joe by a...
Bronco Buster?
No, it was fucking... it's that fucking... I can't remember what it's called. It's called a Bronco Buster?
Is that the Bronco Buster?
I think Samoa Joe... Brain Buster?
Brain Buster.
See Samoa Joe doing a Bronco Buster in the corner? Yeah.
Oh, that would suck.
Samoa Joe put him up for a brainbuster. Obviously, something happened. Ended up damaging his neck. Tyson Kidd's in the ring training.
Ooh.
Is a comeback for WWE worth it at this point? Could he flow back into the business and be a Daniel Bryan?
What if he's part of Retribution or Retaliation?
Ooh, maybe.
I would like to see him and Cesaro tag again, though.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. Like, I want to know what they're retaliating against. They're not really saying what they're retaliating. They're just fucking destroying WWE shit. So it has to be something with these releases.
It's got to be people either have been released, haven't gotten their shot. Yeah, it's got to be one of those two.
But you think Tyson Kidd coming back would be worth it?
As a fan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What else? Are you gonna book it?
Oh man, I always liked Tyson Kidd though.
Yeah.
I didn't like his goofy little haircut, but I liked him.
I didn't mind it with the new foundation with Davey Boy's kid.
Yeah. So. I don't think Davey Boy is. Yeah, he's in Japan, I believe.
Might be. All right, guys. Before we dive into this top 5, just to remind you all that we have merchandise. Freakin is my second favorite F word. We have merchandise available at tpublic.com, TEEPUBLIC.com. If you search JFW, you can pick up any one of our amazing designs that are available on a plethora of merchandise. T-shirts and hoodies, as you can see what we're wearing.
Masks.
Masks, coffee mugs, magnets, stickers, pins, tapestries, wall art, cell phone cases, pillows, stuff like that.
Everything.
Yeah. We came out with a new shirt recently. Because you say freak like it's a bad thing. It's a hashtag Freak Nation t-shirt. The official Freak Nation t-shirt, which is available. I know I mentioned it several times. There's the Freak World Order shirt. I haven't released it yet, and I do apologize for that. I'm just waiting for the right time to do it. So if you guys are waiting for that, let me know. Use the hashtag Freakin' Saying on Twitter or Facebook, and let me know you're waiting on that shirt. It will get released soon, but until you do, again, you can pick up one of our shirts. We got the original JFW logo, the brand new JFW logo that you can pick up on T-shirts and stuff. You got the Dizzle J Travis-T 2020 shirt, Make Wrestling Great Again. So, a lot of things available, so make sure you check out again, tpublic.com, TEEPUBLIC.com. Search JFW, pick up your merch today.
Oh, yeah.
Right. All right, Jay, freaking 5, man.
All
freaking
right.
5, guys. What we're going to do here is now, I got a list here. I actually got 2 freaking 5s we're going to do tonight.
Ooh.
Right? I'm going to give you 5 wrestlers.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what they represent, and you're going to rank them. 1 being the most, and 5 being the least.
Okay.
So 1 to 5. The first one I got here is rank these 5 stars who have never held the WWF Championship. This is going back to WWF. WWF Championship. Okay. British Bulldog, Mr. Perfect, Razor Ramon, Rick Rude, Roddy Piper. All these stars have been Intercontinental Champions, but they have never held the WWF title.
Piper's got to be number 1.
Piper's 1?
Piper's 1.
Okay.
Perfect 2.
Okay.
Razor.
Okay.
Another team.
British Bulldog and Rick Rude.
Man, my aunt would come back to life if I didn't put Rick Rude above British Bulldog. But it ain't going to happen. British Bulldog and then Rick Rude.
All right. For me, I went Razor Ramon 1, British Bulldog 2, Piper 3, Perfect 4, and then Rude 5.
Listen, Aunt Sharon.
All right, so the other one I got here, these 5 stars, rank them 1 to 5. Never won any championships in WWF, but deserve to. So these 5 stars never won a European, an Intercontinental, a tag team, a WWF title, no titles. But 1 to 5, who deserve to win at least 1 championship in WWF? Bam Bam Bigelow, Dusty Rhodes, Jake the Snake Roberts, Lex Luger, Vader.
Luger's last.
Luger's last?
I was never a big fan of Luger. Man, that's a tough one.
Bigelow, Rhodes, Roberts, Vader. Start 5-4. Between Bigelow, Rhodes, Roberts, and Vader, who's the least deserving?
Damn. That one's hard, dude. Number one, probably Jake Roberts.
Okay.
He should have at least held the Intercontinental. To me, that would have been
that would have
been the perfect title for him.
An IC title, a European title, a tag team title, they didn't win any of these titles. So it doesn't have to be which one deserves a WWF title, which one at least deserved a European. Or got thrown into a bullshit tag team.
Right.
Or the IC.
And then Bam Bam second. Then Dusty. Then Vader.
All right. I went Dusty Rhodes, Jake Snake Roberts, Vader, Luger, and then Bam Bam.
I was like, I loved Bam Bam. He was one of my favorites.
All right. These 10, though. Okay? British Bulldog, Vader, Luger, and Bam Bam Bigelow. I have stars next to their names. Do you know why?
They were world champions somewhere else?
Nope. Probably, though, but nope.
Not in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. 5 out of 10 of these guys, or I'm sorry, 4 out of 10 of them are still not in the
Luger will never be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because of what happened to Elizabeth.
Yeah, Luger will never be in the Hall of Fame. I think Bam Bam went in on a sly.
Okay, let's do a third one. Top 4. Most deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. Bulldog, Vader, Luger, Bam Bam. 1 being the most for...
Bam Bam, Vader. Who's...
Bulldog and
then Bulldog,
Luger.
And then Luger.
You think Bam Bam over Vader?
I'm a bigger fan of Bam Bam.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just personal preference.
I do Vader, Bulldog, Bam Bam, Luger.
But see, also, like, Bam Bam, I watched him on wrestling on channel whatever at 2 o'clock in the morning, and this man just moved. So did Vader, though, and Bulldog, obviously. And like I said, I was never a big fan of Luger, and Bam Bam also, the way he died, or what eventually led to his death, was saving people from a fire. So that kind of gives him a little more push for that. And Vader, it was sad to see his downfall, because I don't even think you went to the show with me when he was at NXW. At the was it the Majestic? No, it wasn't the Majestic. It was the Armory in Kankakee. I brought my oldest son with me, and he wrestled wrestled with Cell Block, and it was sad, and he wanted a lot of money just to take a picture with him. And I was like, nah, this is in the '80s, bro.
All right, Jay, what's your pick of the week?
Pick of the week is JBL versus Eddie Guerrero, Judgment Day 2004.
Is that the cowbell?
One of the bloodiest matches ever. So they've been having a rough couple weeks.
Yeah.
I needed to see some fucking violence. So I chose this match, and it actually ranked as top 10 one of the bloodiest matches ever happened.
Nice.
So if it's a good match, it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Guys, one of the coolest parts about our new structure we have going on here is that you're going to be able to know what we're going to talk about next week. So next week we're going to talk about the WWF WCW invasion angle. Kind of talk about a little bit of history about it, what actually did happen, and how we would rebook it. So we're going to do that all for you next week. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter just by searching Just Freak Wrestling, the JFW Podcast. And also you can find our show released weekly on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean, just by searching Just Freak Wrestling or JFW Podcast. If you are following us on any of those, make sure you're subscribing so you get a notification, as well as leaving us a rating and review, because those do help us out. Again, thanks to Ball Wash and Audible for being sponsors of the podcast. Again, check out our merchandise at tpublic.com. We are part of FreakNet Studios along with This Freakin' Show and Doug Gray Area. So make sure you check out freaknetstudios.com to check out the amazing podcasts that are available with the network. Again, we are on YouTube. You can check the video release of this podcast on YouTube, just for Structure of JFW podcast, as well as FreakNet Studios has a YouTube page as well. Jay, that's all I got.
Time to ring the bell on this episode.
Perfect. As always, I am Travis-T.
I'm Dizzle J.
And thank you for listening to our episode of Just Freakin' Wrestling, the JFW podcast.
Peace.